It's been 23 years since 9/11. Reign Over Me is a film that didn't get much attention when it came out, but it's a 9/11 film that we at RTC highly recommend. This is one of Adam Sandler's first dramatic roles, and though we love his 90s comedies, we are totally here for this dark drama. Rotten Tomatoes shows us that while the audience mostly loved the film with 81%, critics were a lot more hesitant, giving it 64%. The critics reviewed Reign Over Me. Now it's time for us to review the critics. Christy Lemire from Associated Press says, "You certainly have to appreciate that Sandler wants to stretch in such a fashion, but you also want material that allows him to do so more convincingly." Christy needs to take a course in grief and psychology. In the film, Adam Sandler is living through the most unbearable grief imaginable. And if you know about even a modicum of the science of grief, you'll be aware that there is absolutely nothing convincing about grief.
I just feel so sad.
And grief is expressed in 1,000 different ways, from the illusion of indifference to even laughing out in hysterics. I'm sorry Sandler didn't act like a celebrity acting sad because that's what the script tells him to do, or that he's not predictably drowning his sorrows at the local bar, or screaming up at the sky for that cinematic screen grab. Reality is not cinematic, and that's what this film was going for. Frank Switek from One Guy's Opinion says that Reign Over Me is hobbled by the questionable casting of Adam Sandler in a pivotal role and use of a national tragedy to give it emotional resonance. So, according to your logic, Frank, comedic actors should never swing into drama. That means Robin Williams shouldn't have done Good Will Hunting.
If you ever disrespect my wife again, I will end you.
Jim Carrey never should have done Eternal Sunshine. And Jonah Hill shouldn't have been cast in Moneyball.
I asked you to evaluate 3 players. How many did you do?
47.
One of the greatest movies ever made.
Actually, 51. I don't know why I lied just then.
And then Frank says that we shouldn't use national tragedies for emotional resonance. So, no more Pearl Harbor, forget Private Ryan, and hit the road, Jack. Bruce Newman from San Jose Mercury News says, "In at least 2 unforgivably manipulative scenes, the movie asks us for feelings that it has not yet earned." Okay, I'm pretty sure I know the 2 scenes you're talking about, Bruce.
I felt them burning.
And yes, the movie earned those scenes because the Trade Center attack actually happened. Adam Sandler's character represents all the victims' families left behind. Are you apt to listen to a survivor's story of that day and say, "Sorry, you haven't earned the right to effectively make me feel for you"?
She said that she wanted to rest. And I said, "Susan, come on, we have to get down the stairs." I remember telling her to please come with me, and she didn't want to go.
Probably not. Alex Markerson from E! says, "Because Sandler's inaccessible character feels more like a writer's pawn than a real person, the frequent outbursts and climactic catharsis lack emotional punch. I'm pretty sure that if you lost your entire family in one day, you'd cease to function like a real person as well. Hell, I couldn't get out of bed for a week after they carelessly forced Jack Black and Lizzo into the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. God, these critics are made of steel so strong a 747 couldn't penetrate them."
Damn!
Sorry, bad analogy.
Too soon, Junior.
When does too soon run out? There's nothing funny about the horrors that took place on 9/11, but if we can't laugh about any of it, then the bad guys win. Dolly Parton said it best.
Silly. Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion.
By the way, did you know that just 5 years following the attacks, Hollywood released 2 mainstream movies about 9/11? One was a Nicolas Cage movie where he's stuck under the rubble the whole time, and the other feels so brutally real it's scary. Reign Over Me came out the next year in 2006. You'd think that these very movies would have been too soon. Eugene Novikov from Film Blather says, "Treacly, misguided, and miscast. Film Blather miscast you as a film critic, so I wouldn't be talking. And as a result, they no longer exist." Walter Chaw from Film Freak Central says, "What these men need is a shot of adult contemporary movie perspective. Ew, you pervert. We're dealing with grief and deep emotional themes here, sicko." Eric Childress from efilmcritic.com says, Reign Over Me can serve as a reminder that the only way to deal with 9/11 is to actually deal with it, instead of shifting the focus to elements that obviously have nothing to do with it. What, like his excessive gaming? Yeah, that's called coping. Doris Tumarkeen from Film Journal International says, well-meaning but hugely awkward. Yes, tragedy is often awkward. So awkward, in fact, that we do everything we can to avoid it. Ty Burr from Boston Globe says, Reign Over Me quietly says that we're our problem friends keepers. At its worst, the movie is a problem friend. Wow. Don't ask this guy to help you out on moving day.
Move yourself!
Pam Grady from Real.com says, there's a poignant story here, but Charlie's story never comes completely alive. Honestly, I'm glad it didn't delve any deeper into Charlie's story. It didn't need to. I got all I needed to know. Going deeper with it or showing flashes of the attack would have been the work of a lesser filmmaker. Everything we need to know is in Sandler's performance. Bob Grimm from Reno News and Review says, one of those movies that keeps screaming, I'm a message movie. Why so grim? What's the message you're referring to? Be kind to people who are in mourning? I'm pretty sure we're all just born with that function. And no, this isn't a message movie. It's a tale of loss and grief. Cynthia Fuchs from Pop Matters says, the movie grants Sandler too much time to perform his seriosity in close-up. Since this movie, I've been wanting Adam Sandler to do more of this stuff. Thank God for Uncut Gems and Hustle. By the way, Hustle is a strong contender for one of my favorite sports films. If you haven't seen it,
Do you want to be in the NBA? Yes!
drop it all and watch it on Netflix.
Well, let's make that happen.
Yet Kernion from Cinematical says, to enjoy this movie, you have to look past the gender stereotyping. What stereotyping? The man is crying. Men aren't supposed to cry.
I get there, some man tells me the plane's from Boston.
And look, a woman stalks a man.
I just thought that if you wanted me to, I would.
You have to leave.
I have this odd sense of intimacy towards you.
You gotta get out of here, Miss Remar. No, I'm serious. I need you to leave right now. Please, go.
Usually it's the other way around. And I don't know about you, but I'd hit that. But before you guys get too excited, just know that I'm an AI woman voice, saying the words of a fat 40-year-old male who is typing for me.
Boobs.
Nope.
It's beautiful. The girls would love the color.
It's a kitchen, sweetie.
There's no stereotyping here. Ian Johns from Times UK says, it's as if 9/11 was simply co-opted to bring an extra weight to a script that couldn't be trusted to deliver on its own.
Boy, I heard some whoppers in my time, but that tops them all.
This conspiracy goes too far, and it gives the star of the grown-ups movies way too much control of the fate of our nation, although I doubt many people would be opposed to electing Adam Sandler as president.
You two want to get married? I support that. Leave me alone.
Tim Brayton from Antagony and Ecstasy says, pretty much a run-of-the-mill carbon copy of Rain Man. This guy does realize that Adam Sandler isn't autistic, right? And he's not winning money for Don Cheadle. And besides, Reign Over Me and Rain Man are... Oh, I see what this guy did there. But yeah, he's wrong in every way imaginable. Tony Macklin from Fayetteville, Free Weekly says, Reign Over Me is like spending 2 hours with a shrink. Self-absorbed and repetitive, it has an occasional moment of truth and a lot of hot air. This guy needs to see a new therapist.
Well, you need to get a new shrink. Get several.
Try BetterHelp. And if BetterHelp wants to sponsor Review the Critics, just drop us a line. And now it's time for the Most Honest Review. This week, the Most Honest Review Appreciation Award goes to Helen O'Hara from Empire Magazine. She accurately states, Cheadle's finest hour and proof that Sandler can act. Funny, sad, and flawed. Like its characters.
We're a brand new channel, so please be a part of our growth by subscribing, liking the videos, and sharing them with your people. Consider becoming our first Patreon donor. Whoever donates to help fund this channel, you'll get to pick a movie for us to review the critics on.